still can. We have the option to civil citation.
All right, beautiful folks. We got Mr. Augustus Invictus joining us. I just want to be on the record. I didn't know you were coming here tonight. Can you validate if this is true or not?
That is true.
Okay.
I had no idea I was coming here.
And I'm not even joking around. Last two political events, maybe three, or two. Last two political events out of three, you were there. And I got a chance to interview him at the 912ers, and we're happy to have you out here tonight to tell us what's going on with the campaign, you as a candidate. I suspect we're going to have some questions on the floor over here as well. But thanks, and I'm going to give you the mic and give you the floor.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, my name is Augustus Invictus. I'm a candidate for the United States Senate. That is true. Kevin did not know I was coming. No one ever knows when I'm going to show up where. And that's for a reason. I get jumped a lot, which is why I carry the knife on me and usually have a bodyguard, because there are a lot of people who kind of want me dead. I'm running against Marco Rubio right now. He's the biggest name in the race. There are, of course, lesser names. Carlos Barros, Alan Grayson from Orlando, where I'm at, Patrick Murphy from South Florida, and my primary opponent, Paul Stanton, who is from the land an hour north of me. So you got people from all across the state. We're all running for the same seat that Marco Rubio vacated. And he turned around, changed his mind, because people are upset and they think that with Marco Rubio leaving this sea of Republican nobodies coming in, it could lead to a Democratic victory, and then that could cause the Republicans to lose Congress, and then, of course, the apocalypse is going to come, because if you don't vote for your party in this election, the world will end. So that's why people tend not to vote Libertarian. I can't join one of the two major parties, though, because I have a conscience. There are a lot of people who don't want me representing the Libertarian Party, and so they have backed an opponent for me, which is fantastic, because that actually makes it so that this is the first ever Libertarian primary for United States Senate in the state of Florida. To my knowledge, it is also the first primary for United States Senate for the Libertarian Party in the entire country. So that's why Raquel is saying that this is an historic event. So I've been running at this for about a year and a half now. I'm not a politician, but at this point it's kind of old hat. So I don't like to bash the other guys. You already know what's wrong with them. I mean, Alan Grayson, if you know who he is, you hate him. Marco Rubio, same, basically. My opponent in the Libertarian Party, he's digging his own grave right now as we speak. So really what I like to do is I like to talk about what my own platform is. We have three major issues in our platform. First is ending the drug war. Second is implementing a non-interventionist foreign policy. And third is solving the financial crisis. I always say ending the drug war is first, because that's first on my agenda personally, because I have a vendetta with the Drug Enforcement Administration. To me, that's also the most important, because I do criminal defense in Orlando. That's what I do for a living, so I do fight the drug war against these people. To me, it's not about legalizing marijuana or cocaine or anything else. It's about ending the militarization of the police. It's about stopping the wars in third world countries that we are waging. It's about not killing farmers, not poisoning fields, not poisoning the water, things like that. It's a much bigger picture when I'm talking about the drug war. It's also a couple $2 billion a year that we'd be stopping in federal spending. The second thing, speaking of waging wars in third world countries, is implementing a non-interventionist foreign policy. So my background is actually in international law. I went to law school in Chicago, where I worked for the International Human Rights Law Institute, which is a think tank that promotes a globalist agenda. I'm not part of that anymore, but when I was young, I was dumb, so as many of us were. So I am all about America not being the policeman of the world. I think that we should go to war if it directly affects America's interests. I'm not an isolationist. I do think that we need war, that war is good, that it can be just, but I don't think we should be going to war just because the UN says so, or because Israel says so, or because we have this treaty with this God knows what country out there in the Near East that got themselves in trouble with Iran. That is not our concern. We have enough resources, we have enough power, really, that we don't need to go police the world. We can take care of our own affairs. And speaking of which, that would be the third part of the platform. I mean, there are multiple parts, but these are the three main ones. It's only financial crisis. So, I'm a millennial. I found that out during the campaign, actually. I had no idea I was a millennial, because everybody talks trash about millennials. I was not raised with a computer in the schools, although we did have Oregon Trail.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was high tech back in my day. So it was a big shock to me, but when you think about it, really, the burden of this financial crisis is on millennials. And if we don't fix it, it's going to be on our children. And a lot of people want to say, oh, well, it's the baby boomers' fault. Oh, well, it's before them. It's everybody else's fault. But really, it's our problem. No matter who you want to point the finger at, somebody has to stop it. My proposal to stopping it is stopping spending. It is dismembering the federal government. It is throwing a wrench in it. It's tearing it apart, really. And one of the biggest things I'd like to do, even though it's not part of the federal government, is abolish the Federal Reserve. I think that has a lot to do with why we have an economic crisis right now. I said I don't like to bash my opponent, but I'd just like to point out politely that he doesn't think that the Federal Reserve is that bad an idea. He just wants to audit it. He doesn't seem to know that Congress already has oversight over the Federal Reserve, and they don't use it. And actually, Alan Greenspan made a deliberate point to say, if Congress asks me anything, I'm going to obfuscate. And he even used that word just to make it more difficult to understand what he was really saying, which is, I'm never going to cooperate with Congress. And every chairman of the Federal Reserve says the same thing. So that brings me to the real point of why I'm running. Anyone will tell you I am the extremist in the race. I do follow the Libertarian Party platform, generally speaking, but I don't talk about red lights, even though I hate red light cameras. I don't talk about legalizing marijuana, even though I think its criminalization is stupid. What I talk about is attacking the government. I talk about it all the time, and people hate me for it. But I think that if you want the government to listen to you, you have to be armed, and you have to be ready to go to war with your government. I don't think that petitioning works. If it did, it would have already. I don't think that voting for representatives works, because you think that this person's going to come in, and he's going to be your savior, and he's going to change the whole thing. They tried that with Nixon, they tried that with JFK, they tried that with everybody. Obama, especially, was our latest disaster. Now everybody thinks that if we get Donald Trump in there, he's going to change the world, and that's bullshit. He won't, because he's one man, and the real problem is cultural. The real problem is that Americans don't think they can overthrow the government. The real problem is that Americans think that we should vote because that's all we can do. And that is what I'm dead set against. If you want to vote, if you want that to mean anything, you have to be armed. And you have to be ready to go to war with your government. That's really what it comes down to, I think. So there are 6 major contenders in this Senate race. I'm the only one that will tell you that, though. The others will all tell you that the system is fine, we just have to tweak it a little. We just have to vote me in, and I will lobby Congress, and I'll filibuster, and I'll do whatever useless things all the other senators do, and that's going to change the country. And I'm telling you it's not. So really, I'm not a salesperson. I don't have to tell you why you should vote for me. It's really up to you. Do you want the system to remain the way it is, or do you want it to change? Because if you vote for someone who's willing to compromise with the system, someone who believes the system is fine, it just needs a little work, then please vote for one of the other guys. Because I'm not going to sell you on my platform and what I'm going to do. If you know who I am and you know what I've been saying and what I plan to do when I get there, then you will vote for me. So that's up to you. So thank you very much for listening. I will take a couple questions. Sure.
Beautiful. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Augustus Invictus? I have a couple.
Wonderful.
Yes, exactly.
You always ask the tough ones.
Actually, I've been giving you softball ones. I even give your opponent softball ones in those videos, but I just want to get you guys talking, so that's all good. So war with your government. So if you win and you're senator, how does yourself create war against a government that you are in fact an elected official in?
All right. Well, the real question is, why would someone who thinks that even run for office? If it's useless, if it's broken, why would you do that at all? I still think that there are legitimate means to be used. I think that we can make a difference. I'm one of those hopeful, optimistic people. Being a business person, you have to be, or you will sink, or go work for the government. But I think you should exhaust all available remedies, and that's something we talk about in law a lot. If you try to appeal the Supreme Court, but you haven't even gone to trial yet, they're going to say, get the fuck out of here. We're not taking your case. You haven't even gone to the trial judge. What are you talking about? Same thing if you go on the streets with assault rifles and you try to storm a courthouse, they're going to say, well, didn't you even try campaigning first, or trying to pass a ballot initiative or something? And they say you're just a bloodthirsty, crazy guy. Yeah, there's a process to be followed, and I'm proving as we speak that process does not work.
Okay, follow up from Mike. So various pledges. I'm not here to ask you which pledges have you made, but if you are going to get sworn in as a senator, I understand this. I think it's a requirement. If I understand how the procedures in the Senate work, you probably read this more recently than I may have ever read it. But I'm assuming they're going to ask you to make some type of pledge for following the Constitution, for instance, something very elementary and basic. How does going to war against the United States make sense if you pledge to follow the Constitution?
I think the Constitution requires that, actually. I think that what the federal government has been doing for the past 150 years or so has been against the Constitution. I actually don't think that what the Founding Fathers put in place was bad at all. I'd like to restore that and restore the Bill of Rights, probably repeal some of the amendments that came afterward, like the one establishing the Federal Reserve. Some of those developments we've had in American law in the past 150 years are just plain wrong. So I'm not talking about anarchy. I've never claimed to be an anarchist, but I do think we should restore what was originally here.
I'm going to look out here. There's got to be some hands moving. I think I see a hand moving in the back. Yes, sir.
There's a lot of crazy stuff published by the media about your LSD use and rape fantasies and stuff like that. Did they just make that stuff up? And if not, how does that reflect on your judgment?
Yes and no. A lot of it's true, a lot of it is untrue. Scott Powers is the one who published those. He works for the Orlando Sentinel, or at least did work for the Orlando Sentinel before he moved to Florida politics. Scott Powers and I have a personal distaste for each other. So anytime he works with me on an article, you can guarantee it's going to be slanted. I did publish my LSD journals. That is a fact. It was a literary work that I used. It's a work of poetry. It's somewhere online. I'm sure you can find it and read it for yourself. What Scott Powers said about it is an absolute falsehood. So what I tell everybody who has questions about what the media says is, number one, read it for yourself, if you please, and two, think about the fact that I have said repeatedly that the first targets in a revolution would be the media outlets, because they're the first ones who are going to turn the public against you. So when they start calling someone a neo-Nazi and a devil worshiper and a rapist who uses LSD, just think about where that comes from. Yes, ma'am. This is Augustus.
You said that people wanted to kill you, and I was wondering why.
Because those people are in communist gangs, and I am notoriously anti-communist. There is a gang that is spread from East Europe all the way to the Western States and Canada. It's called the Antifa, which is short for anti-fascist, which is really a cover for communism. Those people hate me, and they hate everything we stand for. So those people have tried to assassinate me. They threatened to assassinate me in Canada and got me kicked out of Canada, therefore. So those are the people that I carry knives and guns for. Yes, Brian?
I was going to say that, at one point, media credibility was 20%, which is already bad, but now they're saying it's down to 6%. So people media hopefully is losing effectiveness. Because to the extent there's only 6% of people believe you can trust what's on there, then
Right.
so
Right. Well, Congress also has the worst approval ratings ever, from what I hear. But people still let them make their laws. People say, I'm too smart to believe what's in the media. I know that what's in the newspaper isn't true. Oh, you can't believe what you see in the news. But then when they say Augustus Invictus is a goat-slaying rapist, well, of course you're going to believe that. Because you hate that guy. So you're going to swallow whatever the media tells you. But, yeah, the disapproval ratings, the polls that they put out about people not believing the media, yeah, sure, but human nature is what it is.
So, is there any other questions out here? I have one more question.
Okay.
So if we're in an elevator, people are asking us, who are you going to vote for Senate? What is the elevator's speech for being, for you, for people to vote for you? What would you suggest people say?
Oh, you mean if they're asking you?
Yeah. Who are you
should
voting for U.S. Senate, Kevin? I'm in an elevator. How do I bust that out like that?
Are you American? Do you believe in the Constitution? Do you believe the federal government has overstepped its bounds? Well, then naturally, Augustus is the only one you'd vote for because he's the only one with the balls to attack the federal government.
All right.
That's what I'd say.
That was good. Get that
Excellent,
update.
sir.
Thank you.
John Politics. All right. So thanks for showing up, Augustus. We meet once a month.
And he's on our webpage, or
And if you guys haven't been on our actual website, we got a chance to speak with Augustus about 3 weeks ago, and his his opponent in the Libertarian Party, Paul Stanton, and 2 videos side by side, so you guys can see 30 minutes of the 2 of them talking softball questions, as it's been described, just to get them talking. Does anybody have any other thing you want to talk about? Super. So we're going to call this wrapped up. You guys hang out, chit-chat a bit. I know we got some new people in the room we haven't met yet, and please reach across the table and shake some hands. Thanks, everybody.